family, hit that thumbs up button. Hit that thumbs up button, like, share, and subscribe. Let's see what we're doing on the gram. See if the gram got us live here. The gram checking us out on the gram. Making sure. Okay, so we're live on the gram. So letting everybody know that we are live on the gram. All right, we got a lot of things to chop up today, family. We got a lot of stuff to to chop up with. And of course, as you know, the number to call in is 516-418-5867. 516-418-5867. Today we're talking about Meghan Markle's interview with Orka, as I call her often, and the firing of Piers Morgan, how he stormed off the set. And then, of course, we have Sharon Osborne and how she was talking to Sheryl Underwood. Now, did she really make Sheryl Underwood cry? I don't know, but we're going to be talking about all that today on the Lawyer Henderson Show. We're going to go ahead and make it official. Hit that thumbs up. Set of his own show, Wake Up Britain. This is Lawyer Henderson on the Lawyer Henderson podcast radio show here. I am your host, your brother, out. And we're going to just basically cut the music off here. Now, see, if black people want to know what the definition of white-splaining is, they should have heard the conversation between Sheryl Underwood and Sharon Osborne. Okay, that's white-splaining. They play dumb to racism and white supremacy. They want you to educate them. They always want you to talk to them, and so basically buy into the game that they play. Okay? And so therefore, that's exactly what happened with Sheryl Underwood. But we're going to get into that a little bit later on. Hit that thumbs up, like, share, subscribe to. Basically, be messing with the volume, as some of you have been saying. We're live screaming on YouTube. We're on Blog Talk Radio, our national program. The number to call in is 516-418-5867. 516-418-5867. Goes okay. And Piers Morgan, he's been basically attacking Meghan Markle ever since she was one of the princes of, the British royal family. I mean, he's been attacking her. It was basically not in a sense that it was anything that she was doing politically, anything that she was doing that was ratchet. Typically, they call black women ratchet. Okay, they basically was calling her ghetto and talking about she was, a thug and gangsters and all that, and calling her all kinds of names. So very polite in their racism. They're very not only strategic because Britain, of course, the British have a history of going around colonizing a lot of African countries. They basically understand how it's done. They're more better than doing it than the white supremacists in America. But see, black people like to play dumb with racism. Black people like to basically avoid racial situations. This is one of the reasons then why she basically felt, felt isolated She felt like the racism among the British family and how they was nervous about the baby coming out being dark skinned because she is a light skinned sister, and Prince Harry is a white dude. The white folks when you have babies by them, of course, you know, they're so weak as far as the genes is concerned. So you're not going to have a white baby, but they were worried about how dark the baby is going to come out. You understand? They were worried about the fact that there's a lot of things that this royal family supposedly basically was worried about as far as how this young boy was going to turn out who the couple had. So Meghan Markle is basically sitting down there with Oprah, and I understand they stayed down the street in California, and Oprah wanted to bring this to the media. She wanted to build this controversy. You know how Oprah, I call her Oprah, I don't call her show. So this is what she did with this Meghan Markle interview. She stayed down the street from these people, obviously. But I guess that Meghan, of course, wanted to do the interview. They wanted to basically, talk about it. But here's the thing, now, the royal family, whatever they're supposed to be. I don't call them royal family, but anyway, we'll just use that name so y'all can know who I'm talking about. But anyway, the British family or whoever the royal family is, in Prince Harry's family, they're basically, stop talking about this. Let's deal with it, underground. Because see, white supremacists, they like to basically be covert in their racism, so they like to also keep it under hush hush. And what Meghan Markle did is she sparked a controversial thing about military. We explained to you because the Great Britain has been colonizing Africa for a great deal. I mean, they basically got you by your knees, so they can go ahead and say a lot of things to you in a racist, polite way. They could disrespect you on a lot of terms because they know how to do it. They know how to be very, very strategic and methodical in their racism, as I said earlier. But for me to come out and just talk about it, it was basically when she was talking about committing suicide, because she was isolated, because she felt like this kind of, let's say, this kind of like welcoming, if you will. So of course, and I don't see why, a lot of us basically, we don't try to feel out of place, but I've never done that, of course, but a lot of black men try to pretend like black all that. But anyway, Meghan Markle basically decided that she was going to basically expose this family as what their true colors really are, and how white supremacy and in Europe work. You understand? And there's a huge collection of white supremacy between the white supremacists here in the United States and the white supremacists in Great Britain. And they are basically all on code. They have to be on code. And this is, since we basically is now not afraid to speak out. We have a lot of people that are not afraid to really speak out about racism, not against racism. Like, I guess it's become a norm now that we're not even afraid no more of talking about this. So it used to be a time where white supremacy would shut us up, and we had limited shows, and also uh, the old dead black media. They were basically, they would fill us up with comedy. They would talk about certain types of hate stories, and then it was gone. But see, the new voices of black media, we've been out here pushing a narrative. And so white supremacy is upset because we've been out there basically shaking the waters a little bit. They don't like that. So they've been trying to bring all these coons and these immigrant coons, and they be trying to lie from talking about our tangibles. But it was important though. Oprah did something right. I'm glad that Oprah interviewed Meghan Markle. Okay, I'm glad that she interviewed her. Okay, because we also and by the way, Stacey Dash, she apologized to the black community, talking about that she was not a Trump supporter. You see, this is what we're saying about these bedouins engaging in all kinds of gutter sex. They try to come back to the black community and say, "Oh, they didn't mean this and they didn't mean that." Stacey Dash should have known better, and Stacey Dash gave me a shout out, and that's good, cool. But no, you should know better. But anyway, I'm glad that Meghan Markle sat down and interviewed and got this out. You see, what we have to understand is we have to keep on talking about racism in America, racism in Britain. We got to continue to basically, but see, here's the thing. The people who basically are on these shows, the black people they bring on these shows, they cannot talk about real racism. Okay, that's the reason why they bring black people on who you can pay a little bit money out to, and they'll start trying to ignore what the real truth definition of racism is. And so, therefore, Piers Morgan is bringing me to Piers Morgan because what Sheryl Underwood was basically saying that there was some things that he had said that was racist towards Meghan Markle because Piers Morgan has been talking about Meghan Markle for a very long time. He's been criticizing her for a very, very long time. He even talked about not trusting her in her thoughts of suicide because of how the royal family was treating her in her isolation. And that's very important. That's one of the things I want to point out, among other things. Okay. When you basically are married into a white family, okay, they're very different. Okay. It's not like that. But when you're married into a white family, it's very different. Watch out what goes on. It's a very, to me, it's very scary. But you got to really watch out. It reminds me of that story that I was reading last month about that black female. She had that a white boyfriend, and they went on that trip. And when they went to the camping trip, they killed her. It's, him and his white friends killed her. That lets you know that basically you don't have the protection when you're a bad wench here. The problem happens to be is that white supremacy always throw away its tools. But what Meghan Markle did was very, very remarkable. She basically exposed it before they were about to basically, they've already said, okay, she can't be the royal, they can't be the royal prince or whatever no more. They have taken their throne and crown and all this stuff away from her. Okay. So she knew why that happened. Is, they knew that they didn't want no nigger baby with white. And that's the conversation that they were always having among the royal family. And that brings us to Princess Diana. Remember when she was dating that African guy from, I think he was from Ethiopia or whatever, Dadai Faye, who was that billionaire she was dating. There was words that she was pregnant by him. See, they basically said that the paparazzi, quote unquote, was the reason why Princess Diana was dead. No, they didn't want that child that she had in her stomach to become a part of that family bloodline because it destroys their bloodline. And Prince Harry go out and do the same thing. And they're out here wondering why these white men and women, their children, are wanting to date outside their race now. You see, the old heads basically is saying, we got to keep this pure. Okay, they're changing up the bloodline here, and we cannot allow Meghan Kelly coming out in defense of Piers Morgan. Of course, you had Sharon Osborne. I think she was married to the Ozzy Osbourne. But one of the things you have to understand here is that white supremacists like to play dumb with racism. That's one of their biggest games. And the problem is because you got black people helping in that situation. You see, if black people was not playing dumb with racism, then white people can't play dumb with racism. And the idea here is that they love to play dumb racism, dumb with racism. And they like to basically at least have a black person in a room that they can turn to that is going to basically agree with them so that that person really don't challenge them on their racism. You see, that's the reason why your talk shows like Don Lemon is on CNN. You got Van Jones, he crying everywhere. You see, they have to have these black bootlicking Negroes who come on like Roland Martin because they're not really going to deal and delve into the problems of racism. That's the reason why you have this fraud on Capitol Hill right now with Sheila Jackson Lee. See, when Representative John Collier's had this reparation bill, he basically brought on Dr. Claude Anderson. He brought in the experts. With Sheila Jackson Lee, an immigrant from Jamaica, she playing games with the reparation movement. You see, this is white supremacy's last game. Their play now is just basically getting that buffer class, like the Asians, like the Hispanics, to undermine us. And if they can undermine us, that means, ladies and gentlemen, they can ignore our plight. And that's what they've been doing. No, but back to this controversy here. We talked there about did Sheryl Underwood really cry? Because you see, when you're a black man or a black woman, you're on a talk show, you can't really say how you feel. You see, I've been fired from so many jobs because I let the white man know how I feel. You understand? That's a lot of things. Instead of black people going out there committing suicide, instead of you going out there getting on crack, cocaine and stuff, you refuse to let the white people know how you feel. You have to understand that. And um, and Sharon Osborne sat there and said to Sheryl Underwood, "No, you shouldn't be crying. I should be crying." You see, that is a white mommy talking to her black female slave as if they're still in the slave house. To have a black woman crying or even shedding a tear because she basically is saying something that is truth about this white supremacist Piers Morgan, who, like a little bitch, stormed off the set of his own show. You got to understand what white supremacy is about. You see, I wouldn't give a damn if I got fired. I have to let you know how I feel. You see, not in a lot of black relationships right now, right? With black women, because they are basically afraid to be in the relationship with a black man who let white people know what? How they feel. You understand? If you look at the present situation of why you have a situation where racism is more institutionalized, and now you have people uh, who can basically circumvent around real racism. You see, we as black people, we think racism happens in a vacuum. We think that, oh, racism is about, oh, you don't like nobody. No, 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 no. You got to basically think deeper than that. Okay. And so Sharon Osborne, knowing really what racism is, and don't need nobody to educate. See, white women like to play the victim. They like to always play the victim. Educate me. And I am the one that should be crying. You see, they use those types of phrases to basically say, I'm the victim here. Okay. You see, even though they basically, have a history of slavery and discrimination against us, oh, but they like to turn around and say, I'm the victim. You see, that's the game that the white supremacists have been playing. You hear Sean Hannity say all the time, I'm the one who can't leave my house because I'm fear that I'm going to go into a neighborhood and get shot or whatever, or have to deal with somebody robbing me. Oh, no, no, no. As white supremacists, you must understand, as Amos Wilson taught us, is that when you have stolen wealth, you got to take the curse that comes along with it. See, white people are setting up on stolen wealth that they didn't work for, they didn't earn, they basically stole, and they did not repay the debt that they owed to us. Okay? And you got a lot of white supremacists out here, and you got some black flunkies like them. They're out here trying to rationalize the reason. Well, all those people is dead. That doesn't have anything to do with anything. You see, just because a white supremacist yesterday denied a reparations bill or denied me my 40 acres and a mule, that doesn't mean that the balance is still not outstanding, that the balance is still not a tender. It only grows in interest, you see. But see, I like Meghan Morgan. I like Meghan Markle. Okay, and the reason why I like her because she's like these few black people who get into the real power structure of the white supremacist power structure to expose the inside. Now you had, as Tariq pointed out, you had um, Omarosa saying that she was basically pointing out Donald Trump racism or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And it got to a point where, they locked the door out on her, they kicked her out of the White House. And basically she came back talking about, oh yeah, I'm exposing and I brought a recorder. See, she was only doing that to protect herself. She wasn't really trying to expose the Trump administration on anything. Okay. And of course, I appreciate my shout out from her as well. But here's the thing. Piers Morgan, there's receipts that shows that he's been saying things racist towards this woman. When he comes on all the time, like I said, he has some type of criticism about what this woman has said. And like I said, it's just basically exploded on him when it happens that he says something during this about this Oprah interview that she did. How was he there when the woman thought about committing suicide? No. Was he there when she was isolated in this in these people's home? Was he basically there, to say, "Oh, you're not feeling any isolation. You 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 basically can go anywhere you want." Was he there? So if he wasn't there, how did he know? What would be his basic purpose of criticizing this woman? But besides her being black or being light skinned, and that he's speaking for this family who does not want to inherit a black child. You understand? Do not want a black child in their mix. Is this the reason then why Princess Diana is also dead? You see, white people will kill their own if the bloodline is going astray. If it's not basically, hey, let me just do this. I thought that Princess Diana was going to find, her a white man. I thought Prince Harry was going to find a white woman. What's going on here? You know, and so therefore they use the Britain newspapers and media, just like the white supremacists in America, they use the news media against us to rationalize and try to then destroy the imagery of Black folks. You see, Black people have always been used by the mainstream media to be the person to target. Like I said earlier, this we're anti-Asians, we're attacking the Asians and stuff like that. See, all of that, it's based up on what? The propaganda that the white supremacist media like for us to basically, you know, to give you a narrative that this is going on. You see, the media is not about telling news. It has never been about news reporting. It has always been about what? Propaganda. To propagate something that the public can then basically listen to and believe because they want to set a different in a specific narrative. Okay, it's not about reality. Remember, white supremacy don't like reality. They don't like the truth. You see, as a wise man once told me, truth have no moral stand in this nation. You understand? So when she sat down with Oprah, Oprah Winfrey, when she sat down with her, Megan did, she basically was not at all not afraid. Like you have a lot of bed wenches tends to have, and I'm not calling her a bed wench. She's a very beautiful girl, but a lot of other bed wenches, they would have not basically. They would try to be very calm in explaining, but not Megan. Megan basically, a light skinned chick is, is very different. They know how to, and this doesn't take anything away from black women who are dark or brown skin, but light skinned chicks know how to really galvanize and get the truth of what goes on within this racial situation. Moreover, because they're more light skinned, and even though they Negroes too, and the white supremacy is going to treat them the same way, the dark skin and brown skin sometimes they like to try to play games along as they can before they're kicked out, like Omarosa and stuff as a sense. But the light skinned chick, she knows how to basically galvanize because she really knows who she is. Most of the time she does. Okay, I'm not saying all light skinned chicks, but most of them know that okay, although that I look kind of white, I'm still a Negro. Okay. And so therefore, that's the reason why a lot of light-skinned females, they are more attracted to dark-skinned men. They really that kind of combination, that's one of the things that that I've learned. Light-skinned chicks are attracted to dark-skinned men. Not all, but most of them are. And that combination is because of wanting to, it is something that they basically just learn. Hey, you go get you a dark skinned guy. That dark skinned guy, he basically he's going to be good to you. Most likely, if you're an attractive light skinned chick, he's not going to cheat on you. He basically going to be there. Okay, so sometimes with dark skin and brown skin, of course, there's a lot of issues that they basically come up with that keeps this drama going. Okay, and not all of them. It's just that the light skinned chick is more. She know who she is. That's just for, and that's just in general. But this Meghan Markle, like I said, understood that she was a black woman, even though a lot of she's not really. She doesn't look like she's black. Okay, but they know that she have that Negro blood in her. You understand? Even though you might say, well, she's not a black woman, she don't look black, she's not even close to light skin. Okay? For the sake of argument, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. But her mother is a black woman. Okay? So she has that black bloodline in her, and that's what the white supremacists know. And even though you as a black person may not disagree with her having that bloodline, the white supremacist is going to say, I don't give a damn what a Negro think. This chick have black blood in her. You can say that she's not black all you want, but look, that Negro blood is inside that chick. And then now they're worried, okay, about the strain of the blackness from the child that she's having with Prince Harry. How much of that Negro is going to be in the child. So can we teach and educate that child to basically go out and get I don't know if she have a daughter or a son, I think it's a son, but can that son, will he go out and marry a white girl? You understand? So they're trying basically to stop this. The royal family has tried to stop their kids from dating interracially for a very long time. And the children is not listening. Sometimes you get these white chill kids that they'll go out and they'll rebel against their parents. Their parents say, now I don't want you going out marrying no nigger. And, to rebel, if you don't buy me a brand new car, mom, dad, I'm going to go and I'm going to date this black dude. Okay. They have that kind of, what I'm saying, that's how they basically able to manipulate their parents in a way, and that's kind of interesting because when you look at it, that means that, okay, as a white dude, you're going to do everything your kids say because if you don't, then he or she might end up dating a black man or a black woman. Understand? But then let's move on because see this Sharon Osborne, this woman, even which like I said, they got to have black people who would just sit there and stay calm. Okay. And even though Sheryl Underwood tried to explain herself, she knows if she said something crazy, she would have been fired. And not even just crazy, but saying something of defending herself, or the white supremacists would have fired her. You know what I'm saying? So a black person really don't have anything that they can say. Okay, this Sharon Osborne had showed you. You basically say she said educated on racism, but they, like I said earlier, they playing dumb about it. That's their that's the basic of white supremacy, is to play dumb with racism. You got Joe Biden right now. He basically, before he became president, he said, I want to thank the black community. Y'all came through him again. And what is he doing? He's undermining everything policies that is strictly for black folks. Why? If anyone should be crying, it should be me, as she defended Piers Morgan alleged racist comments. See, so I'm saying, I guess you're guilty because you needed a black person and you had to get the dark skinned one. You need a black person to to try to talk your point. So, yeah, you're right. Yeah, is racist. We've seen that. We've seen the British government basically colonizing a whole group of. To say though that in a clip that he has since gone viral, Sharon Osborne responded to a reaction she received for defending Piers Morgan, who has been publicly slamming Meghan Markle amid her statement on the that basically she was experienced while she was at the home here. You see, you're isolated. Nobody wants to talk to the Negro, the only Negro in the room. The only Negro in the room, and you're in this family. I told you that basically you're going to feel left out. It doesn't matter, and it doesn't matter how much you try to say that we are all one, we are people, and we are. You basically set yourself up to basically have to deal with people thinking about certain types of things about you. These bed wenches who are basically going out here, they like to play around with these racist, they're white zaddy. He comes and they play these little games in the bed and stuff like that. And oh, let me catch my bed wench. I'm the slave master, and he's choking you in the bed and all this old stuff. You see, those bed wenches, it comes a reality to them. The hell, this could be some real stuff, that this white dude is doing to me. Okay, as a black woman here who decides she's going to date outside her race. I'll give the JasmineBrand.com credit for this. Shout out to Jasmine. Okay, but let's use this as our fair use. We got our fair use apply. Say that when asked about her response to those who think she's defending the electric chair, because I have a friend who many people think is a racist. You see, her basically now exposing that she was friends and always been friends with Piers Morgan. Now she feel like she's in the hot seat. Okay, well, if the shoe fit Sharon, wear it. It goes on to say, though, that, and for me at 68 years of age, this is Sharon talking, to have to turn around and say, I ain't racist, what has it got to do with me? And then she stopped. And then Sheryl Underwood interrupts, okay? And Sheryl explains to her, well, we're not saying you specifically. See, she's thrown herself inside the mix, and she's letting people know that, oh, I'm his friend. Okay, but just because you're his friend, why are you up here talking like you're the one being attacked here if you're not a racist? And see, now it gets to a point where, here we go, Sheryl Underwood, dropping a tear here and wanting to basically, I know that if she would have said something in defense of herself, she would have been fired. I know that. I know that she would have been fired. But the thing about this is that the woman was just trying to take a break here. She was trying to go to a commercial break, and Sharon was still going on, and here's, you see, you got to understand what the white supremacists are about. They are about hiding truths and facts of their racism. And to do that, you got to then play dumb. Like I said, you got to play the victim. You got to say, educate me. Okay? And that's exactly what this Sharon did. Now, Sheryl Underwood stepped into her trap. Almost stepped into her trap, I would say, probably. Not did, but almost. But she had to basically limit her. You see, there's a ripple effect. A ripple effect when a white person get fired, then five other black folks also get fired. You see, when they went after the white people in the Capitol riots, the black district attorneys and the black DAs and other places across the state, they get scared, and they try to find some other black people who they can go after. Family, there was an incident, I think, here in Georgia. Was it Georgia or somewhere, where they went after 5 or 10 black folks right after or before the Capitol riots. Okay, they went out some more black people, I think, were in Ohio at that Target. So it's a ripple effect that even in the sense then of our former district attorney in Fulton County, when he went after all of those black folks with the school scandal, you see, there's a ripple effect. You got to also go after. If you go after a lot of white people, you better basically be looking out because after the Capitol riots, there's a lot of white people going in jail. Then they have to find a group of black people to go to take them down too. Okay, and so the Asians and Hispanics, they sit and watch this back and forth. They said, yeah, they played a game. Oh yeah, y'all took down some white supremacists. Oh, then yeah, y'all took down some black folks. They're fine because nobody is really touching them. See, they're not going back to Asia. Okay, they're not going back to the Hispanics or whoever, the Mexicans or the legal immigrants. They're not going back to Mexico. And of course, you can't move black people. You can't tell us we cannot go anywhere. This is our country. This is our land. So what happens is that you got to basically put us in jail because that's the last straw. The white supremacists know that that's all they got. They got their police departments and they got their jails. And so therefore, and they got other black people rationalizing their white supremacist attitudes. You see, and so the judges now are the last resort to their racism. So what Sharon Osborne basically was upset about is that the nation and the world see black people really now confronting racism and they're educating other races to also confront it. But we have to be very careful though, because basically allow them to continue with the narrative because they'll try to spin their racism, they'll try to spin the ideal. See, the Asians have been working with the white supremacists to try to say we're attacking them. And everywhere we go, we have these black women, we showing video after video of them going into these stores buying weave from these Koreans, buying hair products and other things from these Koreans. They're not, you see, you got beauty supply stores that's owned by black women, and yet you have black women. We've seen video after video of them still going into these Chinese stores buying weave, buying hair products, and all this stuff. So, in other words, the Asian people get to choke you out, and then tomorrow you're going back into their store. You see, that's what we're saying here when we talk there about being on code. You see, you can say that Meghan Markle is not on code, or you can say she's not a black woman. That's fine. But Markle exposed a huge thing in the British royal family that now they want to stay quiet. You have the older lady, what's her name? The I forget her name. Their elder woman that they're trotting around in Africa like she's the Queen Elizabeth. You got her now saying we should all come over here and talk about it. We're gonna invite Meghan back, and we're gonna sit down here and talk like this, like a family, instead of it being broadcast all across the world. Okay, it seemed like now I really don't give Oprah any kind of credit. I really don't because she's been bed wenching her and Gayle King. They've been bed wenching as well. But I gotta give. I mean, I don't, man, family. I gotta give Oprah credit on this. I think somebody called her out. Remember, there was those those guys who basically came in and they was doing those comments, and the news people were reading it, and they was saying that Oprah and Gayle they need to stop being mouthpiece for the white men and stuff like that. That might have triggered some kind of conscience, but of course it's not going to trigger all the way because Gayle and Oprah will never learn, and neither will Stacey Dash. But I gotta give Oprah credit for basically allowing Meghan Markle the platform. black media, the British, her husband Ozzy was the same way. These people basically is going to sit there uh, and say and defend Piers Morgan, and you had Meghan Kelly, who has her own podcast. They basically nobody wants to touch Meghan Kelly right now because they've already put her out of the bag. See, they've already got Rush Limbaugh. He's gone now, and Sean Hannity is they kind of their last one. And you have other people out there who's trying to make noise in the Republican conservative white supremacist right wing ideology of radio. So they're upset here that the social climate is actually really moving here. Okay, that the white supremacists have been called out by black people. That's something they cannot stand. See, black people have been. See, we have enough black folks on code, but then you have those black people who try to. They basically try to ignore racism. They basically don't want to deal with it because they know that they basically can't deal with it. That's the reason why you have other black people who has to go out there and deal with it. Okay? Because there's black people who live right now in these black racism or have anything to do with experiencing it. And the reason for that is because of other black people understanding that. I wanted to basically talk though about the ideal though that if we can get Piers Morgan to, stop whipping out and stop being a crybaby and stop running away from the facts. If we can get that crybaby, that you had Roly Poly Martin calling him a punk ass, and Roland Martin be playing like he is pro-black. Roland, set your fat self down somewhere. You big round bubble head, bubble ball Negro. You're not pro-black, Roland. Roland Martin, you've never ever been pro-black. Sit down somewhere. No, but they had Roland Martin saying that Piers Morgan is a punk ass. Okay. Roly Poly Martin is also responding. Hit that thumbs up button. But see, that's how your old dead black media is. Your old dead black media try to sound like the underground grassroots here. But I think that Sharon Osborne basically was feeling guilty. You know what I'm saying? I think she was guilty of something. If Sharon Osborne was not guilty, why would she basically talk like that? You understand? Sharon Osborne didn't even want the woman to go on a commercial break. Wow. What was Sharon Osborne thinking here? Was she trying to get some type of press about something? I mean, what was going on? Why would Sharon Osborne needs to defend herself on her talk show? Did she think that they were going to try to fire her next after she came to the defense of Piers Morgan? I mean, what was going on here? I mean, it was just an interview that Oprah did here that suggests that Meghan Markle basically was feeling this kind of way here. She was feeling isolated, almost committed suicide. I believe that those those two things, feeling isolated and suicide. That's very important to talk about when a woman is going through those types of things, because you hear a lot of women say that they've contemplated suicide sometime in their life. Or probably a guy. You hear guys who also say that as well, but mostly you have women who said they contemplated suicide. And I had friends who said that they almost contemplated suicide. See, here's the thing about it though. isolation, thoughts of suicide, now have to worry about somebody thinking that you're going to have a dark baby coming out your womb. You don't think that she was under pressure there? Okay. Meghan Markle was under pressure when she was living in that house. And I think it was almost probably good for her and Harry not to basically be a part of that no more, because it was stressful for her. And of course, I mean, this is one of those examples of, well, he basically agreed with Meghan, you know? And I don't know. I mean, a lot of people will say, well, he did that. I mean, did he do that because he really loved this girl, or did he, or they basically kicked him out because he decided that he's going to stay married to her and stay in a relationship with her? And then on top of that, you got the child there. You see, you got to understand what is going on here. Now, I think that this is going to teach a lot of people a lesson about racism in general here. I think that if we dealing with racism, we should basically have a definition of it. You see, we can't just basically talk about racism like it's happening in a vacuum. That won't work anymore. That won't work anymore. All right? That won't work. We got to always define what racism is before we speak on it. And if we don't define what racism is, then what we're doing is confusing people. That's the reason why the mainstream white media, nobody is really listening to them no more. Why? Because they basically like to bring people on who do not, who basically have been told and bought and paid for to say that this is your definition of racism. And we cannot allow that to happen. That is the truth. You're listening to a Lawyers and Podcast show. All right, so talking about your black business will be coming up next week. If you have a black business that you are operating in the United States, and if you have a website, join us next week. You'll be able to talk about your black business. We're going to bring some more people on, family, who basically been on the show before, to talk about their black business. So when you have a black business, or when you have a business in general, as you know, it's not the same as you having, your personal, stuff. Having a business, you got a lot of things, a lot of incentives that you have as a business person than you do than working for somebody. That's the reason why I got it out of the field, especially for us in the black community. So we're going to be talking about black businesses and people who are going to be calling in to talk about how their business is doing. We had some of these people on the show already before. It's been almost 8 months since we talked to these people, and we're going to bring them on again to see how their business is going. 516-418-5867. That's the number to call in. 516-418-5867. We're talking about the Sharon Osborne and Sheryl Underwood, the hosts of the talk, and got to a point that we continue to look at the attack coming from Sharon Osborne. Look at her basically defending her white supremacist friend. You understand? So there's a lot of things, family, that we can talk about as far as this subject, that subject about Meghan Markle, Oprah, Sharon, and all these other people, Princess Diana. There's a lot of things we can talk about. But they should be up there talking about our rations, fam. That's what they should be talking about. Okay? 516-418-5867. That's the number to call in if you want to call in, fam. We're going to be basically, hold on, got a call drop there. Okay. Okay, all right. So area code 336. Okay, hang up. So I lost area code 336. But anyway, fam, we have a lot of difficulties in the black community where we have basically been used by the white supremacists rather, as pawns, okay, as tools. And we got to ask black people, don't you basically get tired of being white supremacy's tools? At what point do you stop being white supremacy's tools? You see, we've been basically going on and on and on and on trying to change white folk a long time. That's never going to work. You can't change these white supremacists. You can't change people who don't want to be changed. You see, the reason then why you can't change people who don't want to be changed and can't change people from being racist, you look at people like Sharon Osborne, and that shows you and tells you why. These people don't have a heart. They're gutless. Our sister Vicky Dillard, she breaks it down. She's talking about this on her show. Not going to, ever admit their racism. They're not going to ever admit that they owe us reparation. But that, you see, Sharon Osborne basically is showing you how the white supremacists have acted for years. The opportunity, family, to get away with overt racism. Now you have young black people stepping in, and they don't know what to do. They don't know how to deal with us confronting them. See, we're not cowards like them. See, we basically are not afraid to speak truth to power, and they don't like that. See, the officers refusing to meet with the so-called civil rights leaders. Remember, they had to basically go to the media to link that out. So you understand why Piers Morgan, a white supremacist, you understand why he has to run off the stage scared. Insider also did did a story on his family. It says here Sharon Osborne broke down in tears while defending. What does she mean they broke down in tears? I didn't see her cry. Sharon Osborne broke down in tears while defending her friend Piers Morgan in a tense argument with her co-host Sheryl Underwood on CBS's The Talk. And Sheryl Underwood was not even talking to her in an argumentative way. She was just explaining how she felt that Piers Morgan was a racist and he said racist things. But Insider goes on to try to spin the narrative here. Osborne has received criticism for defending Morgan on Twitter after he stormed off the set of Good Morning Britain and later quit the show reportedly after refusing to apologize for his comments about Meghan Markle. See, that's what the white supremacists don't do. They don't like to apologize to you. You see, they don't like to, the white supremacists never ever like to admit fault. Morgan has been an outspoken critic of Markle's following her and Prince Harry's interview with Oprah Winfrey. Osborne tweeted that she stood with Morgan after he left the morning show. Underwood asked her to expand on that position on The Talk. Underwood explained that many saw Osborne's defense of Morgan as giving validation and a safe haven to something that he's uttered that is racist. Osborne replied, I don't know what he uttered that is racist. I'm not trying to side out of this one. Tell me what he uttered that's racist, she continued. I feel like I'm about to put it in the electric chair because I have a friend who many people think is a racist. So that makes me a racist. For me at 68 years old of age to have to turn around and say I ain't racist, what has got to do with me? How can I be a racist about anybody or anything in my life? How can I? Underwood tried to defuse the situation, but Osborne was heard shouting censored explicitives as the show went to a commercial break. So she just kept shouting. She just kept getting offended. You know, and it's like, woman, we're taking a commercial break. Calm down. And you know, and she had to make it a point that even during the break, she had to come out and upset. She was basically trying to turn it all about her now. So she's feeling guilty here, thinking that people was coming after her. She must have a guilty conscience, and she should, because the history of Britain, the history of the colonization that came from that country alone against Black people shows you that she should have had a guilty conscience. Look how many countries that Britain had overthrown and colonized and destroyed. You understand? Britain had banned, I think it was Farrakhan. Britain is so racist that certain types of people who describe themselves as anti-racist, if you're Black, you can't go and travel to Britain. Osborne continued, I will ask you again, Sheryl. I've been asking you during the break, and don't try to cry because if anyone should be crying, it should be me. You see, here's another white woman trying to play the victim. Hear that Karen coming out of her mouth. This is the situation. You tell me where you have heard him say racist things. Educate me. You see, the white supremacists always want you to educate them. Educate you on what? You don't have to sit here and argue with these people. They're not going to listen. They're not going to take responsibility for their actions, but they want to accuse you of not doing so. You see, the white supremacists, how they ran this world so long is they have to then project things on other people. They have to accuse you of being the criminal. You see, the article from Insider goes on to say, though, that Underwood said that while Morgan may have had said anything explicitly racist, it was the implication and the reaction to the interview which went his stance against Meghan Markle. And the last time Osborne that she wasn't accusing her of being racist, to which Osborne replied, "It's too late. I think that seed has already sowed." Okay? So why do she want the seed to be sold? See, what she's saying to the white supremacists is, I have never found a black person who's accused me of racist, but we're going to use dark-skinned Sheryl Underwood so y'all won't be calling me a sellout. You understand? See, what she's saying is, now that I'm in my 60s, I got to let it be known that I was really a true die-hard white supremacist, but I didn't have a black person to bring it out on me. And this is my time alone to show the white supremacists that I'm on code. That's what I got out of it. Some viewers of the show were left frustrated and angered about Osborne's attitude. One person shared a clip of a discussion saying Karen Osborne begging to be counseled live on the talk right now. The term Karen is used as a moniker for any white woman who thought to be acting inappropriately, rudely, or in an entitlement manner. Another word, this is Sharon Osborne telling a black woman not to cry and demanding a definition of racism as she sobs over Piers Morgan, who walked off his job because of a mixed black co-worker commonly challenges fixation on Meghan Markle. See, this man was fixated on Meghan Markle. He was basically obsessed with the interview. He was basically like, my God, I can't get nobody beautiful like her who's a black, light skinned woman. Look at the trash I'm married to. You see, this is what he was upset. He can't get a beautiful female like her. All that money he got, and he has to go get some trashy white woman. Because he can't go out and get like a white woman who basically, you know what I'm saying, who look up the part. You know, these Hollywood women that basically they don't see him. They see him the same way they see Weinstein. You know, it goes on to say though that the person continued, white women are something else. Your tears are your weapons, and that's true. They try to use their weapons as tears because they know that their men, the white man, is going to basically find some way to punish the black person. You understand? So some of you was writing there on Twitter. Ray Sinai said that this is Sharon Osborne telling a black woman not to cry, demanding definition of racism as she sobbed over Piers Morgan, who walked off his show. Okay, I just read that one. DJ The View said that Karen Osborne begging to be counseled live on a talk show right now. Okay. Black Women Views Media. Sharon Osborne is the perfect example of why it's fatal to go out of your way to not call someone racist. You can't reason with or educate them. Just say it with your chest. Let them sit with that and go on about your business. Okay. Unique Monique said, kudos to Elaine and Cheryl for trying to lower the temperature. They should be the ones who are angry at why Sharon Osborne is speaking to them. Okay. All right. Piers Morgan also spoke out. When stuff like this happen, true friends run towards you. Fake friends run away. I love Sharon Osborne because she always stayed true to herself. She knew she would be abused by the woke brigade for tweaking this, but did it anyway because it was she believes. And then Sharon Osborne, right? Piers Morgan, I am with you. I stand by you. People forget that you paid for your opinion and you're just speaking your truth. Okay, but the fool walked off his own show because he didn't want to sit there and deal with the truth. He didn't want to sit there and deal with the facts, family. And that's what the white supremacists, when they cower down, they always want to walk off. They always want to, he walked off like a little bitch, a little baby. He walked out. So I'm not going to deal with this. Okay, your obsession with this woman. You're obsessed with this woman. You see, he had a crush on this Meghan Markle. You see, he had a crush on him, and basically, he looked at Prince Harry in his position, and he was a nobody in the media. And like I say, he got some money, but that is nothing. Harvey Weinstein had money, but all the white women didn't really want to have sex with him. You understand? So when you look at a person like Meghan Markle, and what I'm saying, and you look at Piers Morgan wife, you're like, golly, man. As Willie D said, you got to look at her. She's kind of like, you got to put on some glasses to, what I'm saying, some one of them dark glasses that you use, when you go into the theaters to have to see something in 3D. In order to look at that woman is ugly. Y'all see Piers Morgan wife? I didn't know Piers Morgan was married though. You got to go and look at that woman like, ah. Now, anyway, let me quit. But anyway, this is the Lawyer Henderson podcast show. If you're on Instagram, go ahead, share, like, and subscribe. Leave your comments also on YouTube. Don't forget that we're going to be on Sunday, okay? Like I said, next week, we're going to be bringing you on to talk about your black business. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. And when we talk to you next week about your black business, make sure that you have a website so that I can shout it out on the show. So all of you will be calling in for the black business shout out. Like I said, next week. We're going to try to do it on a Thursday. If not, definitely do it on that Sunday. But I will let you know on air. We will also be on Facebook promoting it. You're listening to the Lawyer Henderson podcast radio show. I'd like to thank all of y'all for tuning in. Join me, like I said, next Sunday for more of the Lawyer Henderson podcast show.